Hello friend, it's Mark out on the back 40, and in this episode it is early January on the west side of Michigan, and we have a kind of a rare weather pattern going. It's warm and we have no snow. If you were out here 2 weeks ago, we had a blizzard and there was 20 some odd inches of snow out here, so you couldn't get around. But since then it's been relatively warm. It's 42 or 43 degrees today, no wind. So, and I've got some time, so I'm taking advantage of it. I'm getting out for one of my favorite seasons of the year, chainsaw season. I purchased this property 25 years ago, and it was I'm on the west side of Michigan. The soil here is sandy and low pH, I think in that between 5.5 and 5.75, something like that. But you can see the rows and rows of Scotch pine that were here. When I bought it, they were probably only about, maybe 12 or 15 feet tall. And it was great deer cover in here. It was just awesome. It was so much fun hunting. But you can see they've grown up too much, and stuff underneath, all the branches started to die, and it opened up the property. So I had to go through and whack a bunch of stuff. But you can see, you might have some of this, especially if you're down south. There's a ton of pine plantations down there, but there also is in various spots in the Midwest. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what I did and maybe some of the results, because 5 years ago I went around, and I don't know if you can see about 10 yards over there, it kind of thickens up a little bit. All that brushy stuff right here, I went around and cut a ribbon all the way around the property about 10 yards wide, and maybe I should walk over there, 10 yards wide, to start letting some light in there and to start thickening up a perimeter around the property. So here you can see, this is 6 years. This is 6 years that this has happened. So you can see where I cut them down in this whole ribbon. You can see all the way down through there. It goes a quarter mile that way. I cut all these down, and all I did is lay them down, and you can see the mess that's still left here, but you can see what's coming up also. So some sun got in here, and it's stimulated growth. And so this is kind of what it looks like. Now for me, the perimeter of my property is right here. These tall pines are not on my property, but the property line is right on the other side of the thick stuff, and it allows me to sneak on my north line here. I can walk down that line, and if you're a deer, you're down here and you can't see anything. So that has given me cover to walk around the perimeter of the property. Now, what have I done on the inside? I left this strip up, and why I left this strip up is I did not want deer coming this close to the edge of the property in case I was walking right on the perimeter here. They wouldn't be here, they would be further this way. Now over here is a windrow that was put in, when they planted the pines, and you know what that is. And so from the windrow, so now you can see down the windrow here, this is for the deer. I leave this for the deer. I've tried planting clover in here, and it's pretty weak. It's pretty bad. But over here, again, 6 years ago, I cut all that down. And so let's just step up into here so you can see what does it look like 6 years after you cut a bunch of pines down. Well, there it is. It's thick. It's great for deer cover. It's not pretty to the human eye, but it's great deer cover. Now as I walk down this windrow, I do this because I'm lazy, it's easy walking. If I look to the side once in a while, here's an area that I purposely left and kind of put a trail through there, and now you can see that they use this all the time. It's been 6 generations have been using this now, and they bed right over there about 20 yards. But I did try to do a lot of hinge cutting, and you can see where I tried to leave, like right there, that one, and right there's another one where I tried to leave it attached. I would not do that again. I would just hack it down and get it sitting right on the ground if I had to do it all over again. But I'm just walking through here so you can kind of see. Again, now I'll turn and look. This, I purposely left the trees up so no sun got in here, so that the ribbon right there grew up good and was a block for me walking on my north line to get to my blind, and no deer would be in this little buffer zone here. So visual block, buffer zone, deer don't like it because there's not enough cover, but as soon as you get on this side of the windrow, thick, and they love being in there. and there's a tons and tons of browse in there. You can see what has happened is the brambles took over right away. That's all this fine stuff. But now you can also start seeing that some of these saplings are starting to come up. It's January here in Michigan. You can see the little saplings with the leaves still on it. Those are white oaks, and white oak is pretty good for deer. Here's a beech tree getting going. So you can see the hardwoods are starting, the saplings are getting going naturally. You can see them down through here too, wherever the light started hitting. But that is after all the blackberries and brambles and all the prickery stuff sprouted up first for the first few years. So what, 10 years from now, all these are going to be bigger, and then maybe I'll be hinge cutting a bunch of the white oaks in here. Hopefully there's still some of the big Scotch pine in here. I like having those in here. A lot of owls and hawks and other kind of stuff in here. Looks like there's some beds right over there, but nothing more to say than that, I guess. I just wanted to kind of show you what you can be looking forward to happening if you decide to go in there with a chainsaw and just start hacking and whacking away. You know, it just gets real thick, and then you're gonna have to go through, after a while, you are gonna have to go through a year or two after you cut all these down, and you're gonna have to cut lanes through there. Otherwise it's gonna get too thick and too hard for the deer to get through. I am up in what used to be a pine plantation. You can see all these pine trees here, and they used to go forever and ever. And what I want to show you here is what Jake Alinger had me do when he came out and did a habitat plan for me. He said to take these large plantings and basically create a circle on the inside of it. So you can see I didn't cut any of the trees through this little, it's probably 20 yards by 20 yards. And the reason for that is so it doesn't grow up thick like, well, there's the outside edge. I mean, you can see how thick it is just right out here. So thick that they can hardly move through it. I mean, I came through there and I cut some trails for them so that they could get through in a place like this. But what this does is this leads them into this little area. And what this little 20 by 20 yard area is just kind of a social area, an area that they can move through. They can bed down in here, but they still have that circle. You can see it, how thick it is all around that outside. They have this circle of cover that makes them feel very comfortable, and there are trails that come in and out of here, and so I know that they're bedding in here, and I know they're kind of meandering around in here because I've got a blind. The sanctuary blind is right over there. So if you have a bunch of pines that you're going to cut down to start thickening your property up, remember to leave a few holes in there like this so that it's a relief area for them to, even if they bed over in the real thick stuff, at least they can take a few steps and get out and still be in cover. They have tons of side cover, but it's just a little relief area for them to stretch, to maybe nibble on some browse in here, and to walk around and have a little bit of a social area. So I have one here. I've got one about another 100 yards down that way, and then another one so I've got a few of them every 100 yards or so. I'll see if this works at all, but it might be terrible. But I'm just walking through a trail that I created for the deer a few years ago, and they have kept it maintained. But you can see to the side here, I mean, this is where I cut. Look how thick it is. This is the little relief area right up over there. And now I'm walking down that trail that I cut through all this crap for them. It was a pain in the butt, right? Because like you cut all this stuff down, and then you have to come back through again a year or so later and cut and move stuff and cut and just work your butt off to try to get a trail through here. But once you get the trail through here, I haven't maintained this in, well, probably 4 years. They pretty much take care of it. Once you get it in there for them, they're going to keep it maintained for you. So again, just to kind of show you what it looks like in here. I mean, it gets pretty thick. And here's a little spot also that I left a few trees up because it was really grassy under here, and they bed in this little spot too. But again, all the way around it, I don't know if you can see where I cut everything. You can see how it's kind of thick around there. So again, this is just creating pockets. Don't cut everything down. There's a bunch more that I left up. Don't cut everything down, but cut most of it down, but leave them some pockets to be able to move around in. Otherwise, after 5 years, it's just going to get too thick. All right, so I got to the end of the path, which is right over there. And I just want to show you this little circle here where they bed. Now at least in West Michigan, this is what they like to bed in. You can see how messy it is. It's just thick. It's not open. And I guess even to get into more detail is to show you like the beds that they're sitting in. What I see most of the time is they like to be up against the cover. Yeah, see like this right here? See that spot right there? There's a bed right there. There's a bed right there. Hopefully you can pick these out on the video. Right there. Here's another one right over here. This spot right here. So you can see what's common about this is, see how it's got a backstop to it. All that junk right there, they feel comfortable being up against the back of that. So what I thought they would do if I were a deer, it seems like it'd be way more comfortable, is to get into this nice soft grass. Like I would have thought there'd have been beds in here, but there's not. And I think it's because there's not as good a back cover in here as there is these heavy logs right here. So keep that in mind as you're creating bedding. I guess you can get an idea what it looks like, at least here in West Michigan. It's just nasty, yucky looking stuff with a side cover for them.